The ground beneath your bare feet was soft, too soft, like walking on fresh snowfall without the bite of the cold. Red spider lilies brushed against your ankles, their petals whispering secrets as you moved through the endless field. The sky above was stark white, empty of any sun or clouds, a void in an eerie, dreamlike glow. Dead trees stood in the distance, stripped bare of leaves, appearing like a skeletal existence, watching your every step. Where am I? The thought echoed hollowly in your skull as your fingers brushed through the red petals, their vibrant red velvet texture, unnervingly warm against your skin. The coily metallic scent filled your nostrils, making your stomach twist. You had no clue how you ended up here, no memory of falling asleep, no transition from the temple's warmth to the silent, crimson meadow. The air smelled of sweetness and damp earth, coiling in a way that makes your nose tingle. This isn't real, right? You blink once, twice, but the crimson sea of flowers remains, strengthening endlessly in every direction. A dream, it had to be. But dreams didn't carry the scent of rich soil clinging to your skin, or the way each petal felt like a phantom burn where they brushed your calves. Your fingers twitched at your sides, searching endlessly, inspectingly, for the familiar bite of frost, but your palms stayed burdened. Even in your sleep, your body remained in its betrayal. The realization should have grounded you, but the landscape shimmered like heat waves, wrapping at the edges. The flowers rustled throughout the wind, their whispers shaping words just beyond comprehension. Then, dead silence. The whispering lilies froze mid-stare, their petals hardened like dried blood. Their breaths hitched at the white sky above began to darken, not with clouds, but with a thick, tar-like tendrils of shadows unspooling from the skeletal trees. They dipped downwards, striking the air as they spread, swallowing the light inch by inch. The warmth lit your skin, replacing by a clinging dread that prickled along your spine. Some primal instinct screamed at you to run, but your limbs felt anchored, sluggish, as if the very air had turned into syrup. And the creeping darkness thickened, tendrils of its curling around the skeletal trees like its living vines, their edges frying into smoke as they reached the hungry towards you. The once vibrant spider lilies withered instantly when the shadows touched, their petals crumbling to blackening dust that clung to your ankles like a feral ash. The scent of rot bloomed thickened in the air, wet earth, and something older, something that didn't belong in this world or any other. The sound slithered through the silence, not footsteps, but the whisper of something dragging itself closer through the dead flowers. Your heart jackhammered against your ribs, raw terror locking your throat as the shadow at the edge of your vision twitched and resolved into a hunched silhouette, too tall, too wrong, its elongated limbs falling and unfalling like broken insect legs. Death. Fear tore through your veins like wildfire, pure instinct overriding reason, and suddenly you were running, bare feet pounding against the soft earth as spider lily petals exploded beneath every step. Their rapture blossoming sprayed crimson droplets that clung to your skin like blood. The dragging sound behind you quickened, matching your pace with an eerie presence, and you knew without looking that the wrongness, was growing around. Your breath swayed in your throat, raw and desperate, as skeletal tree branches clawed at your arms, leaving thin nails and stinging pain. A root tangled your ankle, sending you crashing face first into the flowers, their crushed petals filling your mouth with a taste of copper and spoiled honey. The dragging sound halted. Silence. Then wet, ragged breathing directed above your neck, every muscle locked in primal terror. As the shadow loomed over you, its presence leaching the warmth from your body like a candle snuffed out with unseen figures. Something cold and sharp traced the curve of your spine, not a blade, but a claw. and you squeeze your eyes shut, waiting for the inevitable Ren to flush. There, there. A voice crooned properly, yet firm as warm hands suddenly cupped your cheeks. The scent of jasmine and sakura incense came through the rot. Your eyes opened to see a familiar pair of warm, light brown eyes, crinkled at the edges with age and wisdom. Oba-chan's wrinkled face hovered above you, her soft smile as she brushed a spider lily petal from your hair. Struggling will only make it cling tighter, she muttered, her thumbs wiping away tears you hadn't realized you'd shed. The moment her fingers made contact, the withering darkness recoiled like scorned silk, hissing as a discomfort into nothingness. Don't let it consume you, Yin, Oba-chan whispered, her voice carrying the weight of centuries as if remaining spider lilies trembled and bled their crimson hues. The air itself seemed sigh in relief, the upper scent of dread lifting the morning mist under sunlight. Revealed flood you so violently it left you trembling, your fingers clenching Oba-chan's sleeves like a child's. I couldn't move, you stammered, the memory of that paralyzing dread still coiled around your lungs. She hummed softly, cradling you as the red spider lilies around you shuddered in the wind. The air itself seemed lighter, the oppression weight lifting like a curtain drawn back to reveal dawn. Silly girl, I see you're still struggling. Oba-chan chuckled, the sound like wind chimes in summer, as she soothed your hair with fingers that felt impossibly solid for a dream. You clung to her, burying your face in her lap, inhaling the familiar scent of lavender clinging to her kimono, a scent you thought you'd never smell again. I'm so tired, Mother, you confessed, your voice muffled against her thigh, her fingers still momentarily before resuming their rhythmic stroke through your hair, nails lightly scraping your scalp in a way that always calmed you as a child. More is heavy, she muttered, her voice carrying the weight of countless battles unwitnessed. But what frightens you more, death or hopelessness? The question landed like a stone in still water, ripples spreading through your chest. You tensed, inhaling a shaky breath as the question carved through you. Death had always been a specter at your shoulder, but the thought of hope extinguished, of fighting endless with no dawn in sight, was somehow worse. Both, you admitted, fingers curling tighter into Oba-chan's kimono. I don't want to lose anyone. I nearly lost Kojo, but in the end, I lost you. You tell her how terrified you were, of your friends supposedly dying, of losing Kojo again, and of Muzan winning and plunging the world into endless chaos. The world spills out in ragged gasps, each confessing tearing like blood against your tongue. Otsu listens without interruption, her silence patient as snowfall, her fingers never pausing their gentle minuscule through your hair, and when your voice finally breaks, she lifts your chin with 2 fingers, forcing you to meet her gaze, eyes glowing faintly in an overworldly light that makes the red lilies around you pulse in reason. The world is filled with black and white, yet neither exists without the other, she says, her voice carrying the cadence of ancient chants as her fingers trace the petals of spider lilies. Life and death are threads woven on the same loom, pulled on one too tight, and the fabric unravels. She then plucked the flower, idly twirling it between her fingers. Without death, life stretches thin, endless, echoing, like a song with no rest between notes, and without life, she closed her hand gently, the blooms dissolving into a red mist. There is only silence. You swallowed hard, watching the remains of the flower swirl unwhirled like embers, fleeting yet beautiful. But how do I accept it? Your voice cracked, raw with a fresh wound. How do I watch them march into the darkness and not scream? Otsu's soft gaze softened, her thumb brushing away a tear you hadn't realized had fallen its warmth startling against your chilled skin. Around you, the field of lilies swayed in the non-existent breeze. "Ian," she muttered, plucking another single lily and tucking it behind your ear, its stem cold as winter steel against your temple. "You mistake acceptance for surrender. To honor death is to live fiercely, to love with teeth bared, to fight with your palms open." Her hands framed your face, callous thumbs pressing gently beneath your eyes, as if imprinted a lesson into your mind. "Your grief is a shadow cast by your love. Would you truly wish to be gone if it meant knowing them at all?" A gust of wind swirled the lilies into a swirl tide around you both, their petals catching in your hair like snowflakes, and Otsu's voice dropped to a whisper, her words weaving through the rustling flowers like a lullaby. "When the sun does not apologize for burning away the night, nor the moon stealing the daylight, each has its time, its purpose, and so must you." Her fingers traced the curve of your jaw, her touch lingering like the warmth of a dying ember. "Your friends are not alone in their battles, just as you are not alone in your fear. But darkness only wins when you forget that the light exists." Suddenly, the red spider lilies turned white. The field shivered, a ripple of transformation, spreading outwards like a stone dripped in the still water. Every crimson petal bleached in the purest white, their once metallic scent sweetening in something clean and hopeful. The wind carried Otsu's sigh as she smelled the breeze and smiled down, her form beginning to slowly faintly at the edges, and the fabrics of her kimono dissolving into threads of shimmering blue light. "It is time to wake up, my stubborn girl," she whispered, pressing one last kiss to your forehead, her lips cold as morning dew. "The final act draws near." Oba-chan mumbles, her voice echoing as her form began to dissolve into a swarm of glowing blue butterflies. The wings brushed against your cheeks like whispers of winter beneath cold but comforting. "The threads of fate are pulled. Taut now, child. Muzan's desperation will make him reckless, and the Slayer's resolve will harden like tempered steel." One butterfly lingered on your fingertip, its luminescent wings batting slowly as if imprinting its final movements into your skin. Unbeknownst to you, the spider lily in your hair turns a vibrant blue. You jerked awake with a gasp. The scent of jasmine and spider lily still clung to your senses as your fingers clenched the empty air where Oba-chan had been. The room was dark except for the dying embers of the hearth. Sitting upright, you pressed your temples together as your hand rested on it, your heart still racing until the dream's grip, only to freeze the muffled sound of Thoki's voice in the next room. It was low, urgent, with words bitten off in shattered fragments. You stumbled to your feet, wincing as your aching body protested, and crept to the soji door, sliding it open just enough to see Thoki arched over a Kasakai crow, its feathers ruffled, and it croaked a message. His knuckles were white, where his fists clenched to his sides, the tenders in his forearms standing sharp against his skin, and moonlight sliced through the window, casting his face in frustrated shadows. You could see the tension in his shoulders, like bowstrings drawing too tight. Rubbing your eye with one hand, you pushed the soji further open. "Thoki?" His name left your lips in a sleep-rough croak, barely audible, and Thoki quickly wiped his sleeve across his face too quickly before turning towards you. The Kasakai crow flapped its wings once, letting the hoarse crow that echoed ominously in the dim room. Moonlight caught the tear tracks glistening on Thoki's cheeks before he could hide them, and his usual grin was nowhere to be seen, just a grim, hollow-eyed stare that once sent ice down your own spine. "Snowflake." His voice cracked, raw, and the Kasakai crow abruptly took flight, its wings scattered black moment's feathers as it vanished into the winter night. What's going on? Toki inhaled sharply through his nose, a sound like a blade being unsheathed. His jaw worked slightly for a moment before he managed to speak. He hesitantly tells you, not entirely sure you're ready to hear the news. He began, his voice thick with something between rage and grief. There's been an incident at the Opashiki Manor. The words landed like a guillotine blade, and you felt the air leave your lungs in a one sharp exhale. The dream's remnant, Oba-chan's wrath, the lilies, the butterflies that enveloped into mist under a blade. Your finger twitched at your sides, nails digging into your palms. Incident? What happened? The words tasted like ash, and Toki's throat bobbed as he swallowed hard, his usual bravado stripped bare. When he finally spoke, his voice was low, wrecked, and shattered. The crow's nest has been breached.